Okay, hello, breastfeeding moms. So in this video, I am going to talk about my experience with my baby growing teeth and um, biting for the first time. So I'm like a first-time mom, and it was always my fear of having the baby to bite me. And I joined a breastfeeding group that's local, and one of the questions that I had before my baby even had teeth, I think I was asking this question once my baby was no more than like 3 months old or something. I was just freaking out. I'm like, okay, so what do I do when the baby grow teeth and starts to nip and bite? And they just told me like, oh, you'll get over it, or you'll figure out what to do, or you just put your finger in their mouth and remove the nipple and this and that. So I'm going to tell you all some of the strategies that I have done in order to keep my child from nipping or biting, because in the past I've had a coworker before I even had a child who would always tell me like horror stories about her baby biting her all the time. But her child was like 3 years old and had a mouthful of teeth, and would still like bite or knob on her, I guess, at night when she would be sleeping, because the baby would clench down and she would be in so much pain or whatnot. So I'm just going to tell you all worked for me and what I have implemented to keep my child from clawing down or biting. Okay, so I would say one of the first things is I make sure that the baby is only feeding when they're hungry. So for me, I can tell when the baby is just on the breast just because. And a lot of times when they're just on the breast and they're idle and they just, they're comfortable, they're good, that's when they start to get curious and start, nipping or being playful. So usually I can tell when the baby is like good and satisfied, because if the baby unlatches and like he'll sit there and start talking or looking at me in my eyes and stuff, I can tell that he's comfortable, he's fed, and he's good. But once he still see the breast out, he'll automatically latch back on. It's like, oh, okay, it's there, so let me, get back on. And that is the time where it's like you're most likely to get nipped. It's when they are done feeding and they're just playing around and they just have the breast in their mouth as just a comfort or a pacifier, so to speak. So I have found that making sure I only feed when I know he's hungry has made a difference. So for me, I used to have him to co-sleep with me and he'll stay on the breast like all night. I stopped doing that once he had teeth, because I saw like a repeated pattern of him clinging down, not too hard, but just clench down on the he has 4 teeth right now. He'll clench down and then loosen up, but he'll stay on the breast like all night, and I wouldn't get any sleep, so I had to stop the co-sleeping. And that is what worked for me. If you still co-sleep, more power to you. I would co-sleep personally, but it got to the point where I wasn't getting efficient sleep, and I felt that the next morning I was not able to function fully with so little sleep and being a full-time mom and wife or whatnot. So yes, that's number one for me. Number, I guess, 2, or this is like an add-on addition, is that I always use my finger whenever the baby clenched down. I like to insert a finger at the tip of their mouth to sit there and try to remove the suction of the latch to get them off the breast. And also, usually before I even do that, when he really bit down that first initial time, I made sure that I like shouted out, you know, made a loud sound to sit there and alarm him that something was wrong. So once I did that and looked like, oh my goodness, I am in pain, and I really was, he just, you know, was like looking up trying to figure out what was going on, and I pretty much told him. So being dramatic or loud and not just holding in the pain and actually trying to have the baby to have some type of I guess empathy or see that you are uncomfortable somewhat helps. And the last thing I would say, this is like the last step if they're still like biting or clenching down, and every mom have their own approach as far as like the discipline and all of that. But for me, I don't have a problem with doing the whole old-fashioned pop to have them to realize that, hey, you're doing something wrong, you need to correct this. So when I can tell the baby is being a little, I guess, mischievous and playing around, and then will do the little nip or bite, if he's already like unlatched because I make the sound or, you know, shout like I'm in pain or whatever, and he unlatching it, if it's a really, really terrible bite, I will like pop him on the arm, or do something just like that, just to show like, stop, you know, don't do that again. And he gets the point, and I would say it's working for me because I don't have any problems with him nipping or biting anymore. And a lot of people, well, I guess family who try to put their input in, they told me that once the baby gets teeth, that I will automatically stop breastfeeding because I wouldn't enjoy getting bit. But I don't think no one enjoys getting bit. But if you have an action plan in place and you follow up with it and you're consistent with it, I believe that the baby will feed off of your energy, and they will know when you're uncomfortable, and that will ultimately make them uncomfortable, and then they'll try to, I guess, tend to your needs as well, so to speak. But that's all I have for you. I hope this is helpful. If you all have any comments or input, just leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe to this channel if you want to hear about more breastfeeding tactics and strategies. I hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye.